Got a 42 outrage Boston whaler, partially sank. Everything in here went underwater because this thing was full up to the top. So got a call from a very big boat broker. They had a client down here that just took delivery of a brand new yacht. They are having some shift problems getting an alarm for the starboard transmission. So we're gonna send Mel over with the computer to hook up, see what's going on.
We're going to figure the shifting pressures. We have the H85 IVEA. This is what we'll look for the pressure, and this is maximum that we should get at these RPMs. This particular vessel is 3,200 RPMs, I believe.
That's its max? Yeah.
Well, I didn't check the propellers, but
You didn't really have a chance.
hard wind.
Right.
But there is one thing that I do know. These dock joysticks they have, those things are just fabulous. They don't shift. They turn. It has a computer in it that if it senses a hard crosswind, it will automatically force back the opposite way continuously to match the wind, which we can't do. We can't do that. So it should shift as long as these pressures are along this. So if he wants to go to reverse right now, it should shift. Yes, and no change in the pressure. And then it'll stabilize. Okay, now we can go back forward. Well, the only one we're going to concern ourselves with is the starboard. They said do not compare.
Oh, they said.
Because the computer can react differently on each engine. The comparison is going to be at higher ratings.
That makes sense because I see more fluctuation at lower. Like
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Sure.
I'm gonna have to do the full ahead max wide open.
Yeah, we'll do that on the way back.
Yeah.
That's easy. Yeah, we're fine. This is working the way it should. So hopefully the software was the trouble.
I'm hoping.
Seemed like it was.
Well, the thing is it with this alarm is really inconsistent. Like we'd be running all day and then come back and then it would do it. So I won't.
Well, and you said you serviced a little oil to the transmission too,
I
right?
did, but I got the alarm when I came in, so I'd been running from.
Was that after you serviced?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you serviced after the alarm.
No,
Okay.
no.
All
I
right.
got the alarms and then I serviced, and then I got the alarm.
Alarm again. Okay.
After I did like about a 2-hour run south.
Okay.
And then when I came into port here, that's when I was at the gas dock. That's when I got the alarm. So
Okay. When the boat changes pitch, 12 degrees, your pitch this way is half. Okay. So if that transmission goes pitch over 6 degrees, that alarm could occur because all the oil is flowing to the front.
Got it.
So if you're in some really bad ocean and you're getting this problem, you need to replane the vessel, whatever the
about.
And if it's really, really rough, you may just have to slow down.
Yeah.
So, and that's what a guy that has one of these boats was saying, that the way they put the inclination, it's made for the incline this way mostly.
Got it. All right, you ready for this one?
Yes.
Yeah. So we can just head on back in now.
All right.
Well, that's not bad. 23 miles an hour. Oh, 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
30 miles an hour. That's quick in a boat like this. What is that?
I would like to know.
We didn't get anything. Why?
Yeah, nothing popped up.
All right, so update on that brand new boat, the shift problem. We went over and hooked the Bodia up, and the initial findings were that needed many software updates. So I don't know why or how that didn't get done when the boat was commissioned. We hooked up. The first thing we did, then we had to start downloading software. There was 13 items, I believe. It takes quite a while to do that, but they got it done. They ran the boat. It checked good. The guy took the boat out and he had an alarm go, but it was inactive. It's not current, so it was from before. But the broker still wants us to go back one more time and hook up to it and see if we can make it happen again. I have a feeling that the gentleman may be shifting too quickly, and that's causing an alarm in the gear. So what I mean by shifting too quickly is shifting from forward to reverse too fast. Gear, remember, is spinning one direction, and then when you shift, it all of a sudden has to stop and then spin the other direction. And so he might be just flipping that throttle back and forth or the gear lever back and forth too fast. But we'll find out. We'll hook up again and we'll let you know what happens with that one.
We are back on, just doing some checks for the harness and the batteries. What do you got in your hands?
Oh, it's a cable I'm going to use to test, hopefully.
So yeah, we're just checking because he keeps getting this intermittent transmission fault. It's transmission fault, right? Or
Transmission failure.
failure, yeah.
Low pressure.
And the thing is, it doesn't really stick around. Like, it'll stay there for a couple, like 10 seconds, and it'll just clear itself for some reason.
Well, it doesn't clear itself.
But it
just
goes away. But so right now, Mel's been checking. It's only happening on the starboard side, so Mel's been checking all the wiring over there. I've been doing some battery checks. The 2 house batteries on them are shot. So this battery, these big old batteries, I couldn't find any tags on them of like what the CCA was. This is for those batteries over there. Yeah, okay, right here. So this is the manual, but it's called an HZB 12-200. You can see it right there. HZB 12-200. So if you just follow this line, again, I know it's very hard. You can see that the cold cranking amps for that battery is 1670. Yeah, our trusty little battery tester here. And the negative, positive, a positive. Show what voltage is happening. So it's a 12-volt system. It is out of the vehicle because I have it disconnected. It is a top post system, AGM, and the CCAs are 1670. So crank them way up, 1670. So then I'll put a load on the battery, test it, and you can see right there, replace battery. There's the CCA, so it has changed because last time I measured it, it said 386. Now it's saying 686. But regardless, both these batteries need to be replaced. Did the same thing over here. The rating for these are 900, and I got 678 out of the port battery, and I got 644 out of the starboard battery. The battery tester was just saying that they need a recharge, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hook up a charger to them. So we were in here checking stuff out, and we only got readings on the port side fuel tank, nothing on the starboard. So Mel just went down there, he did a little bit of his Mel magic, and now the starboard side is popping up. And we're gonna go over to Mel, and he's gonna explain to us exactly what he did.
All right, so in the engine room here, we've got a problem with the reverse gear giving a indication of low oil pressure, transmission failure. So we're checking the sensors to see if it's a sensor problem. So on the engine here, there are cable bundles for all of the engine depth. One of them are sending units, which is right up here. We will unplug it, and as you see, these are the sensors. We have this unplugged, so now we have to go and check and see if we have a reading sending units. Okay, so we've unplugged for the starboard side. Port side still showing 86%. Starboard is showing 0. That is normal. We should see nothing. Now, you may wonder, why did you unplug the senders? Here's a question. What is the reference voltage for my senders? Let me know what you think. But this is the reason. If they have added something to this boat and they have used the engine chassis ground to ground that system, you are going to change your reference voltage on that engine. So if the reference voltage is not correct, all of these sending units for whether it's a water tank level, fuel tank level, rudder positioning data,
Would it change it positively or negatively?
oil pressure, oil temperature, transmission pressure, they are all ran on a 5-volt reference. So if you are going to add a ground, you are going to change that.
Would it change
during its
positively or
reading.
negatively?
What did you put into the system? It depends what your system is that you have installed and used for the ground. Never, never, ever, ever, never run a ground wire to the engine. Take it to the negative battery terminal, negative battery bus, or negative bus somewhere, anywhere except the engine if it's a Volvo engine. Other engines, I'm not sure how they work, but I can tell you Volvo is very sensitive to voltage changes, voltage drops. So now we're going to start the starboard side and see what happens to our reverse gear.
She got in throttle only. So he's just bumping it in and out of gear right now. see what happens to the pressure in the transmissions, or the transmission.
So now we see the battery voltage is coming back up.
Started off at like 11. Charged itself quite fast, actually.
We've checked the batteries.
Yeah, for the engines, all it said that it just needed a recharge. They were about like 300 cca below their ratings. The domestic, the house batteries, are the one that says replace battery.
So I know my alternator is good.
Charger system on the boat works, yeah.
I cannot get you on.
We just turned the motors off. Whoops, let me go back to it. And the voltage is already starting to drop, but it is chilling at 12.1.
Now the voltage drop is not going to have the effect on this problem with the transmission pressure, but it could have a problem with the
All the
error,
senders and stuff like that.
the error that we had on the
Throttles.
not throttle, lever. There's a difference between this lever and the throttles, because this lever does more than just throttle. It also shifts into forward, neutral, and reverse. So the throttle could work perfectly fine, but the switch for forward, neutral, and reverse could be bad. That is a part of the lever, not the throttle. You can have a lever failure caused by low voltage.
We discovered that the circuit breakers for the battery chargers were tripped, and they have more than one battery charger on one circuit breaker. And when that tripped, it drew down the engine start batteries. Well, the low voltage on the engine start batteries, that can manifest itself as all kinds of problems like we were having with the codes and the digital trouble codes, as far as control circuit failure and all that kind of stuff. So ended up being all about the engine start batteries were dead. So we turned the circuit breaker back on. Engine start batteries came back, but the other charger was for the house batteries, and those did not recover, so we ended up having to replace those. And they took the boat from Key West. They're on their way to Isla Mirada now. We haven't had any phone calls, so I'm hoping that they're all good to go. Kind of disappointed. They called me to look at an ice maker. Ice maker's only 4 years old, and the scroll compressor is on its way out. It's barely compressing anything, so that means the roller's inside. Maybe you know the correct terminology for that. If anybody does, let me know in the comments. But there's two kind of Healy that run together, and that's how it compresses the gas back into a liquid. Well, that's worn out or broken, something's not right, and it's not running correctly. So I had to tell them, you're gonna have way reduced capacity. So they are making just a little bit of ice. It's supposed to make 540 pounds a day. We're probably, it's not even really worth running. I think probably they might get 10 or 15. The thing is, the unit's only 4 years old, and I had to tell them that, well, unfortunately, a new one is gonna be $20,000. Good news is, their step box cooler. So a step box cooler is actually like the step you step on to get up into the salon and go through the door there. And you flip up the lid and it's a cooler in there, and they put drinks in there. The display was not working, and therefore the unit would not cool. So I found out that the display was bad. The display I had was the wrong voltage. So all I did was I just jumped the NC/NO switch to closed, and the unit turned on and it's cooling. They're just gonna control it with the circuit breaker, because otherwise it's going to run nonstop. But I got that running. At least they'll have cold drinks for their guests on board. Oh, I ordered a new display. It'll be here tomorrow, and we will see about, I think the mate's going to try to put it in because it's just 5 wires, and I showed him how to hook it up, so I don't need to come back down and do that. So here we are. Got a 42 outrage Boston whaler, partially sank, and they hired me to come and do an insurance estimate or a repair estimate, whatever you want to call it. Let's figure out what we need to do. So nothing's working, so I'm going to have to do things a little different. We're going to have to get the guys over here when they're done and have them trim down these engines. We don't know why it sank. They just know that, I'm guessing there's a water hose popped off somewhere or something. So from what I understand, this compartment right here totally filled up with water. Ruined everything, and I don't know about the engines yet. We're gonna have to get the engines trimmed down, get the cowlings off, pull the spark plugs, and let's see. Everything in here went underwater because this thing was full up to the top. Yeah, I think what we're gonna do, have the guys come back when they're done on the other job and jump power in, trim those motors down, get the cowlings off, pull the spark plugs, and see if there's water in the cylinders and the engines. All the electrical in here, everything you see. Oh, Seakeeper. All that's going to have to be stripped out of here. Fisher Panda generator. That's got to go.
So the engines didn't go underwater. Well,
That's what they're saying. But they still want us to pull the spark plugs.
looks like water was sitting here for some time. Look at the yellow ring.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some water sitting in there.
Unless that's just the way it sits at the dock, maybe.
Yeah, but that's as far as it's going to go. So, oof, man, there's a lot of corrosion in here. What I'm going to have the guys do, disconnect the batteries because they're no good. Jump power into the tilt trim if we can. We might have to cut some wires to do that. Trim these engines down. Then we're going to pull all the spark plugs and check them. And then we're going to hose the engines down with Corrosion X. Go down here, put this plug in. This whole compartment filled up with water, so it kind of, the ass end went down and it kind of partially sank. But it didn't look like the engines from pictures I saw went underwater, but it was still, who knows how much this weighed back here. This is a Boston whaler, so it didn't really sink all the way. So we'll call it a partial sinking. With this damage that happened down here, nothing on the whole boat electrically works because all the electrical connections and everything are up underneath here. Now I have to figure out what can be salvaged, if anything. I mean, the rest of the boat's not too bad. Yeah, I mean, the teak could use some cleaning, but the helm looks nice. Nice big old cabin down here. I don't see any water damage down here. It looks all pretty. Smells nice. Doesn't look bad. No water there. I am going to see, because I can smell the black water. We need to see if we can get the black water tank pumped, because that'll just be smelling.
Do you need to get permission from the insurance guy?
Yes, I'm going to talk to the insurance guy, and you guys can, I think getting these motors down is going to be a pain in the. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, there should be a release screw. I forgot about that. Let's see if they have manual releases. Hopefully they do. You know what that is? That's this seal for this cylinder right here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if we open this up right here, this should allow the engines to come down. Maybe we'll have to do that instead of trying to jump power and probably make a mess, so the oil probably come out. Something ain't right there. I'm betting there's probably, might be fishing line in there. Oh, it just came free. Watch your step there. Yeah, there might have been something in there. It just freed up. Let's see how this one is. Yeah. All right. Well, we ran up the keys. Went up to Summerlin and dropped some lower units off to my buddy Joe for him to assess the situation and see if they can be repaired or they need replaced. A couple updates I need to do for you. The 42 Boston whaler that flooded the machinery compartment in the back. We have completed the insurance estimate and submitted that to the owner, and he has now submitted it to his insurance. So we are waiting to see what they have to say. Quite the project. It's going to take two guys a couple weeks at least. And I would imagine that there will be supplemental insurance estimates written to cover other things, because at this point in time, we have no power on the boat, so we can't test systems. So once we can get power on the boat, then we can start testing things and see if we have to add things on. Just in parts alone, we're over $100,000. One of the guys make a list, put all the part numbers on there, and then we looked up prices and put it all on a spreadsheet. That's where we're at. I think it was about 112,000. That's just getting started. So we'll see where we end up. I'm sure it's going to be more, but you got to start somewhere. Well, I was going to run over to the yard and update on the Boston whaler that flooded that compartment, but yeah, not at the moment. We've had a lot of rain this morning so far, and thunder and lightning too. So met with the insurance adjuster yesterday at the boat, went through some things and discussed and tested a couple things. We found one of the automatic float switches was bad, had no continuity. I cut the wires and checked it with my meter and nothing. So that's one of the reasons why the bilge pumps, there are two of them, both of them were working. I think it would have been okay, but because there was only one working in an automatic mode, that probably couldn't keep up with the water coming in. I'm going to remove the hoses from the intakes, so the through hulls in the boat. And we're going to run a garden hose in there with a plug and pressure test all the hoses so we could try to figure out where this water is coming from. Right now, the working theory is that the transom has 4 access plates in it, and they're not really known to be very waterproof. In fact, when we put the hose in the transom yesterday and turned it on, they were all leaking. So that's the working theory right now, but we're not 100%. I don't know that that would make enough water to flood that whole compartment. I mean, I would say probably 200 or 300 gallons worth of water in there. So I need to still figure out what's going on with that. It looks like we're going to get the job, but we'll see. Thanks for watching, by the way. And we have a request. We're looking for a cool boat project or projects somewhere in the southern Florida Keys that we could take the boat let's say you have a boat that's in rough shape or a boat the engine won't start or something like that, we would like to come pick that up, make some videos out of that, and see if we can get it to run. If you want to get a hold of us about your project boat, and email us and we'll get back to you.